school board members trickle in. Appreciate everybody being here tonight to this community engagement meeting for the CAM School District. We have a lot of stuff to cover. We have a lot of things from the past meeting, the survey results. We have a lot of financial information for you to look at, as well as a new survey at the end of the meeting. I do have a number of users on Zoom, and I just need to double check with them real quick that they can hear me. Daniel, can you hear us all right?
Yep, you're good.
All right. Just be patient with me as we have to switch back and forth between any inputs. We're gonna have a hold spot for questions after the financial piece, and then we will do another round of questions at the very end of the meeting. So any questions that you have, I'm gonna try and pass the microphone around so that everybody in the Zoom world can hear. The meeting is being recorded. If you want to, you can check out the past meeting. There's a link from the school's website. It takes you to a facilities planning website we've set up. It has the past videos of the past meetings, as well as PDFs of those past presentations. Just a little housekeeping, any school board members, if you could raise your hand. Awesome, great. We also have superintendent in attendance over here. We also have your financial consultant with PFM, Suzanne over there. And then normally we'd have your construction manager partner, Boyd Jones, but they are not here this evening. And then, as I mentioned, we have a couple people out in the Zoom world, Daniel with Ali Pointer Maquetto, and then my name is Derek. I'm with Ali Pointer Maquetto Architecture. Just a couple of things again tonight. Welcome and recap. Where are we now? The financial considerations, the survey results from the survey I had everybody take last time. That meeting was very well attended. We had a lot of responses. We're going to introduce the focus groups, what those mean, and try and get some people engaged in those focus group pieces. We've got more ideas to stimulate discussion. We're going to talk about the next steps, and then, as always, any questions that you may have, we'd love to answer. We're not going to go through all of our entire process. You've heard that a couple of times if you've been to the previous meetings. If this is your first meeting, certainly encourage you to get on the school's website, click on that link, follow and see the previous presentations. But this is a little bit about our team. Again, Boyd Jones is the construction manager. We have an engineering partner in ETI. We also have another engineer in Larson Engineering doing site civil work. Ali Pointer Maquetto Architecture is your design architecture consultant. And then obviously you guys as the CAM community is a big part of this process. Some goals: safety and security for all students and staff, provide environments that enhance and improve the educational experience for all students and staff, maximize existing square footage and space, enhance community pride in the schools, move forward with a community-based solution, and then any others that come out of this for the discussion. We'll also eventually list some objectives. Those objectives will come from the focus groups. Our big picture process for a community-based outcome. Where are we now? Where do we want to be? How do we get there? I can't stress enough. We do this over and over and over. We take the where are we now piece, which is your existing facilities, your existing conditions, and we establish that as the baseline or the status quo. The where do we want to be? That's the process that we're in right now. We gave you all some ideas to respond to last time. That's not the first time you're going to see ideas. That's not the only set of ideas that's going to come out there for you to respond to. But we put those out there to start getting feedback, to refine those concepts, refine those ideas. We see where the support is at till we get to a point where we have a solution that everybody can buy into. And then the how do we get there piece, a big piece of that is with your financial consultant that is here tonight. What are we going to implement and how are we going to implement? Is it something that we've created this master plan? Are we going to take 20, 30 years to get there, do it in 5-year chunks? Or are we going to try and do some bigger projects right away? And then what does that mean to you from a financial impact? We have basically 8 steps that we go through. Again, assessing the current deficiencies and needs within the district. We've walked all your facilities. We've scanned everything. Our engineers have been through here, created their reports and their opinions of costs. We provide any comparable information. We evaluate any operational deficiencies. I've said this multiple times, and it's nothing against your school district, but you have multiple school buildings in different communities. There are just deficiencies that occur because of that. We educate a diverse community committee. So there is a facilities committee that meets, sees this information, sees the survey results, and helps us respond to that for the next meetings, provide input. That committee will take everything that is gathered in these community meetings from the focus groups, and they will present a master plan to the school board, and that school board can then elect to adopt that master plan. And then how they may start to implement that master plan is a lot of the financial piece of this. We look at the sources and uses of funding. We create these options and scenarios based on all of those, all the feedback that we get at every one of these meetings. We refine those plans, we bring them back. We refine them again, we bring them back until we are at a point where we have a consensus or a community plan to move forward. That master plan and those implementation components, you're gonna hear me talk about short-term, mid-range, and long-term implementation, things that need to be done in the next 12 months, things that are over the next 5 years, things that are 5 to 10 years, and then 10 plus years. And again, we're just looking for input from the community. This is a process by which all community members have an opportunity to participate, provide their feedback, and figure out where the community, the CAM community, wants to go moving forward. So where are we now? Just a quick review of what's been done. We've walked through all of your facilities, as I mentioned, documented them, scanned them, talked to your facilities people. We've come up with lists of things that you need to be aware of as you move forward in the future. The elementary middle school building has just over 50,000 square feet, built in 1964 with a 1979 addition, and also a smaller addition in 2017. We score all of these buildings based on the 4 main categories up on this sheet: site analysis, exterior, interior, and then MEPT. MEPT is mechanical, electrical, plumbing technology. I use a number of acronyms in my business over and over and over, and at these community meetings. If I give you an acronym and you don't know what it is, just please raise your hand and say, what the heck is that? So again, as you look at the scoring of this, these 4 categories, that building scores out at a 4.3 on a table of 10. And I'll show you the overall in just a minute. The elementary north building, 32,000 square feet, built in 1957 with the multi-purpose gym piece there added on in 2016. Again, the 4 categories that we look at, from site analysis, exterior, interior, and mechanical, electrical, plumbing technology, and this building scores at a 3.8. The high school building here, 52,000 square feet, built in 1977. When we look at its total score, it's on a 5.6. We also looked at your athletic fields. It's mostly accessibility challenges, lack of certain facilities that cause this to score at the 5.7 piece. This is our chart from 0 to 10. 10 is basically a brand new school, something that's been built within the past 5 years. Right around the 5 where you're at, that's generally a building where you've had a building that's been operational for 20 plus years, but you're starting to see items and things come to the end of their lifespan. A building such as this, which is approaching 50 years, but you've maintained it very well. You've put on roofs over the years. You've fixed the issues, you've upgraded things. That's where you're at. So for a school district and school buildings in Southwest Iowa, based on the age, this is right at where we would expect them realistically to score. We also look at some programmatic analysis. You're gonna hear me use the term top down and bottom up. This chart shows you a top down look on your enrollment per grade, and then also the square footage. So if we were gonna build you a brand new school building, we'd come in here and we'd look at your enrollment number. We'd pick an even number, say 500 students. We'd multiply that times 200 square feet, and that gives us a square footage for starting at. on that building. Every school district is different. You may have some other specific program that you want to add, an indoor pool, maybe swimming is really big. You have an auditorium, multiple gyms. Some of your neighboring districts are big into archery. So you have all those pieces that you start to add and take away. Maybe it's your career technology education program, your industrial arts, you want a bigger space for that. But that's the top-down look. We've also got some charts that we've showed previously, that's the bottom-up piece. So that's where we look at every single classroom, every hallway, all of the individual square footages, and we look at from the bottom up and how do we build up the square footage for the needs there and analyze that. Because just because you have a classroom, that same classroom that needs to be built for 25 students is also the same size for 10 students. So we know that you have some flexibility and some fluctuation amongst your class sizes. So you still need that square footage for 10 students, that same square footage for 10 students as you do it for 25 students, if that makes sense, and why we look at it from the top down and the bottom up. So in this scenario, in this case, the top down look, your CAM South middle school, you have a capacity there of 273 with 226 students attending there. The North Elementary building has a capacity of 161 with 120 students attending there. And then your high school building here has a capacity of 261 with 147 students attending here. Next up, we're going to talk about some of the financial pieces. I just have two slides here before I introduce you to your financial consultant. This is a slide titled "The Cost of Waiting." And I had a quick conversation with a gentleman here right before the meeting started, just, how often do you do these things where school districts want to move forward? It takes them multiple tries to pass something. What does that look like? Well, I've never worked with a school district that doesn't have a budget. And generally, that budget is going to be the same in 2021 as it will be in 2025, 2030. What changes, though, is your cost of construction. So as you look at this chart here, I've used 2019 as a baseline for construction. That's our last real year of data outside of COVID and what COVID did to some of our building material numbers. But a project that was $10 million in 2019 was 7.3 in 2011. That same $10 million project will be 12.4 million in 2025. And that's just using very standard rates of inflation for construction and construction materials. Previous to 2011, around 2008, 2009, and 2010, there were some big cost correction years there coming out of that kind of recession time we had there. So you never know what's going to happen, but this is the trends that we see moving forward. I also wanted to just pull up an enrollment. We've had some questions on enrollment, and I saw some questions or comments in the last survey about enrollment decline. And so this is your certified enrollment for the past 10 years. You're actually up 60 students from where you were 10 years ago, from 434 to 494. That number has been up to 505, but this past year you were at 494 students on your certified enrollment. With that, I'm going to introduce you to your consultant with PFM. I'm going to hand you the microphone, and I'm going to switch our other inputs.
I'm the paper whatever So a few weeks ago, I had given an update to the committee on information that's not in here. We're going to talk about the issues you have here in just a second, but I don't want to talk just to cover a couple things that I talked about the last meeting, just to make sure we all have the sort of financial understanding. So one thing we talk about the district's legal limits that you should get. Right? You have a credit limit, so to speak. There's a legal amount of debt you can have outstanding as a school district. The legal limit is based on 5% of your 100% assessed valuation. So what that means is that for the fiscal 2021-22 school year, your legal limit is $31.3 million. Tonight about what you should spend on projects. The legal debt limit includes GO bonds paid for by the debt service levy. It includes the federal property loans paid for by the federal levy. It also includes the sales tax revenue bonds. Now, the federal notes and the sales tax revenue bonds are not required to be approved by the voters, but they all count towards the legal debt limit. Right now, the only current, I think, a small lease that counts against the large bonds or debt outstanding against the district's legal debt limit. So, I calculated if based on the current cash flow, based on your federal levy, how much could you borrow? So, you have $1.34 and based on the current valuations, I estimate you can fund approximately $2.3 million in projects. These are the two options that do not require over. We have $2.3 million. The sales tax, the one penny you can leverage on that also to pay for projects. And I estimate based on the current cash flow, what you're already paying on a cash basis, what the debt service, you can borrow around $5.4 million. $5.4 million. And those are things you can afford within those two. I think I might just go ahead and go to the presentation for tonight, because now we're going to talk about the GO bonds. And that's the presentation right now before you tonight. Specifically looking at, last time I was like, well, this is how much you should back on. Well, tonight I want to talk about what was what your current expenses look like. What you compare to some of your neighbors, and then say there's an enrollment. And then we're going to talk a little bit about if we start to talk about projects and we should do bonds, what is the tax impact of it if you will for residential property, commercial property, kind of letting anyone with the initials. So this is community schools 10-year 11 history. For the last 10 years, from 2012 to 2021, the total consolidated tax rate for the school district has ranged anywhere from a high of $12.67 to a low of $9.15 for years. The current levy for this year is $10.50. Although that can be we will campaign for this time based on budget valuation grow at each year. So we look at how many stands up, starting in each union in the top, London, Vanderbilt, Central Valley, Principal, Riverside, all the way down to Northwood, Benson, North Nebraska, South Tennessee, etc. Audubon, Jefferson, and BC, LPW, and DWC. I included enrollment, so you can see if they're bigger or smaller than that. I included the debt levy, as we were talking about tonight. There's a simple portion of the taxpayers who that's specifically what we're talking about tonight. Right now, that's zero. 0% of schools, and then I think the high on the list is 405. That's the making of it. This is the funding for bonds 405 cents. And then the total amount levy, the dollars levy is just the budget, GO budget. So as you can see, right now I'm sitting on the list. We get into talking about projects. But even with $4, there's no possibility you're going to get to the top list. Even if we look at the $4 which is not represented tonight, there's still my way. So your neighbors, take better somewhere. Okay. So I think this is the chart everybody wants to talk about. There's a lot of information on here. I want to make sure we understand each of these pieces of information. The green box, that's residential assessed values. Okay, so I've broken out the anticipated cost of issuing GO bonds based on residential property at an assessed value. Now, assessed value is not what you pay your taxes. You pay your taxes on the taxable valuation. And each category or class of property is assigned a different rollback percentage to calculate the assessed value versus the taxable value. As your property owner, each spring you should get a statement from your county that says, okay, this is what you're assessed at, and then you'll get a tax bill later that's what you're assessed, which is the last. The residential will match. So right now, for 1/1/20, this year 21-22, the residential rollback is 56.40, 5 digits, 56.4%. So you have a $100,000 home, your property is going to be assessed at 56.4% of that, 56,000. And so that's the number that uses to calculate taxes. Okay. So $100,000, you apply the rollback, and then I have a $10 million GO bond in the first column, a $15 million GO bond in the middle column, and a $20 million GO bond in the last column. And across the top, this is what I estimate the tax rate would be. If you want to borrow $10 million, I estimate, based on current market conditions, GO bonds sometime next year, a year to 18 months, I would say I think it's going to be about $160. Any kind of property, that's the tax rate we're talking about, $10 million GO bond. This is not talking about the couple, not talking about the trade, it's just to be both the voters. For GO bond, $10 million, I estimate $1.37. Okay. If we do $15 million, I'm estimating $2.05. Okay. And if we're going to $20 million, if we have large projects that we need to do, then I'm estimating $2.75. And $2.75 means that now we're talking about two questions on the map. Not just can we issue the GO bonds, but can we also levy over $2.70? The district has to have an approval to levy over $2.70. So that means two questions on a voter ballot. Okay. Now back to how I calculated. Green is residential property. I tried to make it kind of easy so you can maybe, nobody's home is really going to be $100,000. It's going to be some percentage of it, but per $100,000, that's going to be $75 and increase per year. That's estimated now. Tax rates go up and down, valuations go up and down every single year. But based on the way things are today, I estimate $75 and increase per year. Now, if we go up to $15 million, the tax rate goes up to $2.05, $100,000 home for $100,000, that's $13 a year. We can property taxes twice a year. I'll do it once, pay once in the fall, and half of it in the spring. A $20 million deal bond, $2.75, and that's going to be $151 a year. If you're $100,000, that's $150,000 all the way up to the $300,000. If you're assessed over $300,000, you can have more than $150,000. If you want to find out yours exactly, and you want to do that, I'll tell you the formula. It's not hard. You take your assessed value, times your rollback. Residential properties 56.4%. Divide by $5,000. I'll say this several times and then you'll write it down. Your assessed value times your rollback times 56.4%. Divided by $1,000 because you do property taxes $1,000 times the tax rate. Okay, so that's the formula. If anybody wants to figure out the specific, you can go to the assessor's website. You can put in your information and look up what your property is valued. And it'll tell you what your last tax statement was, if you know the information. Public information is really good. As well. Now, we're talking about commercial property. Commercial property, if you're a business owner and your property is classified as commercial, you have a different rollback. Right? That means you have a different rollback aside from your assessed value to your taxable value. You pay 90%. Business owners, pay a bigger percentage than residents, and I don't use to, because it's a theory, it's a commercial property. It's $100,000 up to $1 million. So $100,000 times 0.9%, right? Because we're paying the 90% rollback. $90,000 divided by 1,000 times my tax rate. I'm estimating for $100,000 business, that's $123. $15 million year one, $185 a year. The $20 million year one, $247. Now, guidelines, this is a little more complicated. Let's make some assumptions. That's why I gave you a footnote. If you're a guideline owner, you get a footnote, right? Because I don't know exactly how much your property and stuff like that. Maybe has various values, so I just took an average money. And I would say extension, I think how many acres of farmland are in this county. And then what's the 120 assessed value? All of that farmland I just divided in 5 years. I'm assuming that the average assessed value of acre of farmland is $3,534. Something around there is an average. Based on that average, 100 acres, that's $390. $10 million. For a $15 million, 593. For a $20 million, 796. Now, the ag property, that's all that at 84%. 84% by 5,000. So, question. Table, and they try to give you all the pieces so you can come home, look up your own valuations, figure out exactly.
All right, I know that's some information. Please, a number of times here, you kind of understand the different funding mechanisms. For example, just go through the geo bond levy. It's not many combinations of geo bond, state, and sales tax, and as we start to get into this process, find ideas to stimulate discussion. Find these ideas, we start to be more specific on those concepts and what the community wants, then we can start to dive into what that combination of funding mechanism is and what is most appropriate. Switching back over here.
We're going to go through the community engagement survey results from the last meeting. All right, so if you were at the last meeting, we gave you the survey online, or you were able to watch it on the website, watch the presentation, take the survey afterwards, and then these are the results that we're sharing with you here tonight. We're gonna have another survey for you to take after this meeting also. So what community do you live in? This is the chart with Anita first there, Cumberland, Messina, Wyoda, and then rural, not associated with a town. The balancing aspirations piece, we're just going to talk about the top 3. There were 8 total choices. So first is retain quality staffing. Second is high quality education while maintaining a small rural school feel. And third is update current buildings and prepare for future growth. Managing concerns. First, recruitment and retention of top educators. Second, fix current issues versus preparing for future concerns. And then third, financial ability to maintain quality education. So I just want to pause here and point out something, since we just went through a financial presentation piece. You know, the recruitment and retention of top teachers, the retain quality staffing, the financial ability to maintain quality education. As we go through this process, and one of our focus groups is a financial focus group, you'll start to see that doing projects and facilities projects and the way they package that funding, because certain funds can only be spent on bricks and mortar. The whole point of that is to take that that pressure off the general fund, because the general fund is 80% of that general fund is salaries for teachers and staff. So it's important. That's an important piece that the community wants to see as we start to integrate then any facilities improvements, how that works from a financial standpoint. Assigning priorities, safety and security for students and staff, improve existing classroom space, create collaboration space. Third is upgrade your mechanical and your electrical systems. Defining inspiration, first is technology. Second is STEAM or STEM. STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. We put the A in there and get STEAM on some of these. Third is collaboration. Then we went through the options. We presented 4 options for you there. Option A was renovate only. Classrooms all stay where they're at. So you have the 3 buildings that we mentioned earlier in the analysis piece. We don't flip anything around. It's just, that's the status quo. We're just gonna fix what we have. Option B was an addition here to the high school building. This becomes a pre-K-12 facility. Option C was an addition kind of between here and the rec center, plus moving the rec center up to where the elementary building is here north. And this whole thing also becomes a pre-K-12. And then option D is renovate the high school, renovate the south campus, which is your Messina building. The elementary all goes to the south site. And then this becomes a 7-12 facility. So you can see, we asked you to select your top choice. We're all over with our little dots, with 52 on option A, 44 on option B. Option C gets 6, and then option D gets 53 dots. We asked you to select your second choice. Again, the options were the same. They start to become more scattered. So the second choice, again, was option A with 49, then option D with 42, then option B at 27, and option C with 22. Select your third choice. Again, the dots are moving all over. Option C is your third choice with option D at 18, option A at 27, and option B with 43. Select one to eliminate. Option C, so that's the one that connects to the rec center. Then option D, which is renovate the high school and the south building, and eliminate the elementary up here and kind of reprogram your spaces. A lot of comments. We got a lot of great comments in this piece. I'm not going to read every one of them. I have kind of a summary to show you here at the end, but a lot of comments. So if you do have an opportunity to get on the website and grab a copy of this presentation, the comments are important, and they do help us formulate that direction and incorporate ideas that maybe haven't been thought of or presented. There's a lot of people that are passionate about maintaining a school building in both locations as it currently is. There's a lot of people that are passionate about athletics. There's a lot of passion towards and a lot of desire to figure out a daycare solution for both communities. A lot of comments related to what is a transportation facility. People wanting to make sure we are incorporating some discussion on athletic components. Those kind of comments are things that we saw here. A lot of things that talk about efficiency. So you have efficiency with staffing all being on one site. Maybe that's your pre-K-12 option. And then there's concern on transportation and busing of students. So what does this all mean? These are not the only ideas and options that will be presented. They're merely a starting point for discussion. There is a lot of passion towards moving towards providing the best education for the students of CAM. The economics of relocating a school building and what it means to the town is an important part of community pride in the schools. There's a need to balance what is best for the community versus what is best for the CAM school district and its students. While the most efficient and most cost-effective solution is a pre-K-12 building all in one site, it might not be the best solution for this school district. There is a benefit for teachers and students in similar grades and education being in the same location. For example, your K through 6 all in one site. Daycare and childcare is important. And while the school can be a partner, it cannot be the provider or the operator. So as we move forward through these ideas for stimulating discussion and these concepts on what we want to be, if there's a component that is a daycare and a childcare or a before and after school care, we can work that into the program and work that into the plan, but it's not the school that's going to be the daycare provider or the operator of the daycare. Improvements to the activity spaces should be included. There were comments about the track, hosting track meets, no restrooms at the baseball and softball complex, accessibility, things like that. No one cares about a transportation facility, but they care greatly about transportation, meaning there's a lot of transportation needs within this district. As we move through these solutions, we may need to revisit what the true need for transportation, a transportation facility, maintenance of those equipment, vehicles, and all of that. It's not the school's job to provide jobs. There were some comments in there related to if we consolidate classrooms all on one site, or if we all become, we move all our elementary to one site, what does that do for how many teachers we need? And it's important to know, and think about, and this is your consultant speaking, that, the school is not in the business of providing jobs. They're in the business of providing education for students. You will be more efficient, no doubt, if you have all of your elementary under one roof and say this year you've got 20 kids in second grade and you've got, so that's one section, but you've got 50 kids in third grade, that might be 3 sections that year. So you can have some teachers that float around because you're all in one site. That makes you more efficient. If you have paras that help out with your elementary, they can also float around easier. Workforce development and programs for career readiness, CTE, career technical education, that is very important also to the school district. Now I'm going to talk to you a bit about the focus groups. So after tonight, we would like everyone who wants to sign up for a focus group. So again, we had a lot of comments on the survey the last time. I can tell that there's a lot of people that have certain areas that they're very passionate about. We would like to have you all in those areas that you are passionate about participate in focus groups, and that starts to help us refine these plans and these ideas to move priorities of needs over wants as we move forward and what is the best for the school district. So we've got these 7 focus groups, STEAM and CTE. So again, science, technology, engineering, arts, math, and career technical education. Information technology, learning environments, community pride, athletics and activities, the behind the scenes, and financial. So you're saying what does all those entail? What is specific about each one of these focus groups? So your CTE and your STEM focus group, maker spaces, again, your career technical education space, your industrial arts, 3D printing, laser cutting, welding, a building trades program. Maybe you want to build houses for the community. Workforce development, jobs data, agriculture, automotive, and then other space needs related to those. So if you have a passion about that, if you're passionate about that, or maybe you're an employer that needs welders, maybe you're a contractor and you want kids to learn some of those tools and some of those skills while they're in school, that's maybe a focus group that you might be interested in. Information technology focus group, power restraints for one-to-one computer programs. Obviously, a building built in the 50s or the 70s didn't have the same technology and power demands as a building today and how we're learning. BYOD, bring your own device. That's a big topic in the business world right now, and that is starting to trickle down into the higher education, and that will eventually trickle down here into our K-12 piece. Peer-to-peer learning, Genius bars. If you're an Apple fan and you've been to an Apple store, they used to have their Genius bar. We know from our experience in working with schools, and I also know this as a parent, with all my technology and gadgets, my kids still know 100 times more about all this stuff than I do. So it's not a teacher in a classroom that's going to teach them how to do something. It's that student peer-to-peer learning. That's where they're going to learn how to animate that PowerPoint slide or some Excel formula that they're trying to figure out. And we've seen some schools that have implemented a help desk that is then run by students that are very interested in all of that. You have the one-to-one computers. Now are you using them effectively? Remote access, online classrooms, and any other concerns related to that information technology piece. The learning environments focus groups. You'll start to hear us talk about 21st century learning environments, the amount of space, the configuration of a classroom, how much daylight in a classroom, breakout spaces, traditional sit-stand education, small group, one-to-one learning, peer-to-peer learning, again. Those are related to furniture test drives. So we may not have the ability to come in here and take out all the walls in the classroom and reconfigure them to different square footages, but we can still achieve a same solution with furniture, things that are movable, things that can go together for 4 or 5 students to learn together, but then very easily can be reconfigured back to a traditional sit-stand education piece. Integrating online learning, the teacher's desk. This is another one. I can't tell you how many classrooms throughout Southwest Iowa that I walk into, particularly in buildings built in the 60s era. You've got classrooms that are small to begin with. I walk into that classroom and the teacher, are there any teachers here? Okay, I'm gonna pick on you all for a minute. I picked on you the first meeting, you're gonna get picked on this meeting too. I walk into these 800 square foot classrooms that really should be 1,000 or 1,200 square feet. And the teachers moved their desk almost to the middle and almost another half. And then behind them is a whole row of file cabinets with who knows what, and shelves with textbooks that are 20 and 30 years old. So reimagining that teacher's desk and what's the best way for that teacher's desk and space to be integrated into the classroom also, along with this flexible furniture. That previous slide talked about, or this one talks about a test drive. We have the ability to bring in with some partners, a couple of classrooms worth of furniture, let the teachers and the students test them out. We do a survey with them before, we do a survey with them after. What did they like? What did they not like? How does it work for your classroom spaces? Room scheduling is another thing that is a higher education trend that is coming down into our K-12 learning, particularly at the high school level. So you may have, however your scheduling works, you may have classrooms that are available in the afternoon, and you may have teachers that move to those classrooms as well as students. So it's no longer a classroom dedicated to a teacher or a subject. And then obviously we need to talk about special education and integrating that throughout the classroom space and throughout the building. The community pride focus group. You've heard me talk about CAM first, the school brand, informational marquees around, letter jackets. That was a big thing at a couple of schools that we've worked with, is that letter jacket and those students. I see great banners hanging up around here, you know, seeing those students out with the school colors and the letter jackets, that gets you excited as a community. Any community service opportunities, booster clubs, sponsorships, signage and graphics. Do you have an alumni network? Do you want to incorporate an alumni room in any of your school buildings for any type of town celebrations or class reunions? Athletics and activities focus group. This is your fields, the track space, the gym space, locker rooms, accessory spaces, officials, changing rooms, trainer areas, storage, weight rooms, your auditorium spaces, your performing arts spaces for band and vocal. Where does the pep band, where does the marching band and the dance team practice? A field house concept, restrooms out at your fields, ticket booths, scoreboards, concession stands, what's the spectator experience, all of that. The behind the scenes focus group. This is your maintenance personnel, your food service, your transportation, your administration, nurses' offices. Lots of new design guidelines for nurses' offices in schools, kind of coming out of a post-COVID post-COVID world, your counselors, school board meeting spaces, other meeting spaces, and then this is your daycare, your childcare. So if you're interested in that, this is the focus group for you. The financial focus group, again, your historical levy rates as they were presented, sources and uses. You're gonna wanna be able to explain Pebble, voted Pebble, SAVE, penny sales tax. What is a bond? What areas are good for private donations? Any enrollment trends, open enrollment, operating costs and redundant costs. Does that make sense for the focus groups? So in this survey, we've got it set up for you to click on any of those focus groups that you want, and give us your contact information so we can get those set up. So we've talked about these ideas. These are essentially the same as what we presented last time. We've taken away the option that connects this building to the rec center. There's some logistical things that may make that just not possible at all. But your idea A, renovate and update all schools. So that's your elementary building, this building, and then the middle school elementary building on your south campus. That has an estimated cost between $18 and $20 million. This was the plan we showed of that last time, kind of the aerial image so you can see that. It's keeping all of your facilities as they are and renovating them as they are. Your idea B, renovate and update the high school in the South Elementary. So this is the one where we convert the high school here to include middle school, and then the South building becomes all elementary, and we get rid of the elementary building on this campus here. That's a $13 to almost $16 million option. So again, we'd probably keep that new gym piece up there, but that elementary building goes away. And we keep the building in Messina. Idea C, this is just a renovate and an update and addition here at the high school. This constructs a 50,000 square foot addition here. Relocate everything up to this site, this building. This becomes your pre-K-12 building. That's a $22 to $24 million option. All right, I'm gonna roll through the survey questions that we have for you for this next round here. You will need your smartphone. I have a couple hard copies for anyone that does not have a phone with internet access. But again, we're gonna ask you what community you are from. We're gonna ask you if you can agree with a CAM schools first approach. We're gonna ask you how likely you would be to support a property tax referendum to improve the CAM school district. And we're gonna ask you to just narrow down to one idea that you feel is the best solution, one idea that you think should be eliminated, and then what idea has the most chance moving forward. So you may have one that you like best, but you also probably feel that there's another one that may have a better chance of moving forward. We want you to rank these pieces that may affect you helping us move forward with a community-based solution. We want to know if you are a property owner in the district, if you are an ag property owner, if you own residential property, commercial property. We want to know if you are eligible to vote in this school district. We'd like to know your connection. Are you a graduate of CAM or one of the schools that formed the CAM school district in the consolidation? Are you a parent or grandparent? Do you have students currently attending school in the district? Are you an employee of the school district? Is there anything else? Do you think this process will help that we are going through here, these community meetings, these engagement exercises? Do you feel if this is working to get us to a community-based solution? Are there pieces that you want more information on? Maybe you need more information on the financial component, for example. If there was something else, we're giving you an opportunity to explain that. Here's where we'd like you to sign up for the focus groups, and then any other comments that you may have. So if you have your smartphone, go ahead and pull it out. Smartphone, computer, tablet. We do have 20 or so hard copies up here in pens if you don't have a smartphone. The code is 840436 3-2. Good question. You will have the ability to sign up for a focus group here over the next week or so. We're going to start meeting in about a week. You'll be able to follow the link from the school's website, as I've mentioned previously, and click on the presentation and take the survey if you are not in attendance here tonight.
So you take the survey, you don't have to take this now, you take it on.
Yes, you do not have to take it now. We do like to try and get as many people engaged tonight as we can. So again, that code is 8404-3632. So when you're done taking this survey, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about schedule and some additional next steps that we have. If you are attending on Zoom, if you have any questions, if you could type those in the chat, and then Daniel will read those to us and we'll try and get them answered where everybody can participate and hear the answers. So my goal with all of these surveys is that we'll just get to a point where you guys are tired of taking surveys and you just say, let's jump to the part where we support the project and get it moving forward. In all seriousness, I do appreciate everybody attending and participating in these surveys. As we hopefully move out of a COVID world and a COVID situation, we're going to be able to get back to some more small group pieces of these community engagement meetings and discussion. But we do have some, in the meantime, we have a survey that we're going to send out to the students. So you may be asking, are we getting any input from the students? So we have a survey that we're going to send out to the students from 6th grade up. We have a survey that we will blast out to the parents. I know how busy it is as a parent of school age kids, multiple school age kids. And how do we get feedback from those parents that aren't able to attend these meetings? And then also we have another survey for teachers, and we will gather all that information. And we will do that concurrently with the focus groups and meeting with the focus groups and gathering that information. A lot of times we get to these pieces and we say, you know, Derek or Allie Pointer, what's a schedule look like for something like this? We've decided we want to support something, you know, maybe we need to do, maybe the school board says we want to do look at a bond issue or a levy. What do we want to do here? It's important to know that the state dictates when you can have those elections for those bond issues. The first one coming up here is in September 14th. So if we were to get to a point where we said, yes, we think we've arrived at the solution, focus groups have met, we've got an idea of what that scope wants to be for any of those ideas there or some version of that, we want to support that. What do we need to do? So we would need to wrap this process up by the end of June so the school board can follow all of their legal proceedings to get us to a point where we've advertised, collected signatures, and taken all the appropriate actions to get that on the ballot for an election in September. If you don't do the September election, there is a November election option this year. I'm not sure if that's something that we would look at or not, but there is that November option. 6 months after just almost 6 months after your September election is a March date. And I say almost 6 months because you're just shy of a week on that. If you run an election and it fails, you have to wait 6 months before you can run another election. The way the dates work on this one, if you ran an election in September and it did not pass, we would be just a week shy of being able to run another election in March. And so we would have to wait till the following September. So we'd be a year out if we run something and it does not pass. All of these require supermajority in Iowa. So that's 60% plus one in order to pass. But that's what a schedule looks like. The next piece you may be asking is, okay, we want to do this. We know we want to do this. We pass on, a bond to make it happen. How quickly can we occupy the space? So if you passed a bond issue in September. A September election would likely give us enough time to put together the drawings, the bid documents, meet with all of the users, have some more community meetings to present how that process goes, and be able to put that out for bid, say March timeframe, and get some good contractors signed up for what we call the first summer slam. So that would be when the students get out of school, then in May of 22, then you would begin construction that first summer. Most of the work that we're looking at, particularly since the buildings are all occupied, would require kind of a bookended of what we call summer slams, and then work around the students and in the spaces during that school year timeframe. If we don't do a September election, when we wait till November or March, we probably wouldn't be putting anything out to bid until that summer of 22, with a plan then that maybe looks a little different on, maybe we have some portable classrooms for students. Maybe we work with, I know there was a couple of guys that talked about some work maybe in the 80s, and they took the gym in the Messina building and divided that up and put a bunch of classrooms in there. So there's a lot of options to implement anything like that from a schedule standpoint. Any questions on schedule? Again, I do want to remind you so that you can tell anybody and everybody that you see, hey, I didn't see you at the community meeting, but did you know there's a website set up where you can watch the presentation, you can see the slides from the presentation, and you can participate in the survey. So wherever you go, make sure you're helping spread the word that we definitely want as much community feedback and input as possible. There's a link to this facilities planning website from the school's website. And that's where you can see the past presentations, get copies of the slides, see the ideas, and participate in the survey. That's it for tonight. We kept you at just over an hour here, which is usually my goal. Are there any questions before we leave here tonight? All right. Are there any questions from any Zoom users?
Not currently.
Okay, we don't have any questions from the Zoom attendees. I'll stick around. If you do come up with a question, or if you have something you wanted to ask, just not in front of everybody, I'll be around here for as long as it takes. But thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you at the next one.
Hey, Derek.
Yes.
There is one question.
Okay.
Why can't we build a new school?
8. You know what? Let's respond to that with that we will make that an option. I think that's a good option we can bring up and see what the support is.
Okay.
Most everybody's leaving here, so we'll go ahead and let the Zoom people know that we can make that an option to put into the next survey.
So I've got